One of the biggest mistakes you are making is you are trying to get it right. And I know that sounds weird, but our subconscious mind is obsessed with getting it right, and that is actually getting in your way. There is an amazing approach that I like to use that is way more useful than getting it right or getting it perfect to create change, transformation, and even making it easier for us to get more out of our tapping. And that is exactly what we're going to talk about today. This is Gene Monterastelli, and welcome to the Tapping Q&A podcast, recorded live to tape from Williamsburg in Brooklyn. This is episode 615, originally aired June 12th, 2024. Hi, everyone. I hope this finds you well wherever you are, and whatever time of day you're getting a chance to listen to this. Thanks for spending a little time with me today. Now, most of my clients come to me because they're trying to create change in their life, and they want to either act or feel in new ways. Sometimes this means we're clearing past traumas, or we are eliminating limiting beliefs, or we're creating new ways to take action. And in the process of doing this, one of the biggest obstacles we're facing is our subconscious mind. And I don't mean the subconscious mind is a problem in and of itself, but the way our subconscious mind perceives the world, perceives ourselves, and keeps us safe is something that is really, really good in the moment. But when it comes to creating long-term change and transformation, it does the opposite of being useful and actually becomes our biggest obstacle. And today we're going to talk about how we can reframe the way our subconscious mind is approaching trying to solve a problem. Because when we get our subconscious mind to change the way it normally acts and get our side, it's going to be so much easier for us to create change. And in order to do that, what we're going to do is we're actually going to do a little tapping. Now, if you are new to tapping, tapping is this absolutely amazing tool. I use it every single day myself. I use it with my clients all the time. It creates transformation, not just in the moment, but on a subconscious level, so we act in new ways. If you are new to tapping, all you need to do, follow the little red arrow in the upper right-hand corner. It will take you to learn2tap.com. It'll teach you all the basics so you can integrate tapping into your life right away. Our subconscious mind's primary goal is to keep us safe. And that is a really notable thing to do. I am glad that there is a part of me every moment of the day is scanning my environment, scanning my experience, trying to understand where possible pitfalls are to keep me safe. The problem is, as it is engaging with that, the subconscious mind does a very, very bad job of seeing the big picture, seeing how things build. And instead, it's only looking at this particular moment. How can it keep me safe? And one of the ways that it wants to keep me safe is to make sure that everything is exactly right, and to make sure everything is perfect. Because in the subconscious mind, if everything is absolutely perfect, nothing can go wrong. And if nothing can go wrong, I am safe. Now, logically, this makes perfect sense. If I'm stepping into something where every single thing is in place and is going to work exactly the way it's supposed to, I'm going to get the outcome I want. But there's a slight problem with this. One, I am not perfect. And two, I never have complete information about what is happening. I share the planet with 7.5 billion other people who all have free will, which means that there's lots of things happening around me that not only do I not control, but I can't predict. So it is impossible for me to get things right. It is impossible for me to have everything work out perfectly because I don't control everything. So their tension shows up. There's the part of me that wants to move forward, that wants to create change, that wants to act in new ways. And there's a part of me that's saying, we can't act until everything is exactly perfect. And so for me, as I'm trying to create change, what I need to do is I need to take this part of me, the subconscious part of me that's holding me back. It's pulling the reins so I don't go charging forward into something that is dangerous. I need to find a way to get that subconscious mind on my side. One of the very, very first podcasts I ever did, it's back in the first 10 episodes, it's simply called Making Your Issues Your Allies. Because the reality is, the issues that we are encountering, they are our allies that are trying to keep us safe, they're just not functioning in a way that is most useful. So my subconscious mind, who wants everything to be perfect, is on my side because it wants me to be safe. And so I need to change it so it's not the issue that is holding me back and transform it into something that is useful. And so for me, the reframe is, how do I change this desire to be perfect and right? What I do is I change it into the desire of, I want to do something that is useful. Because when I'm taking an action, I'm doing it because I want a particular outcome. The action is trying to be useful. When I'm trying to heal a past trauma, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get that out of the pain that I am carrying with me so the moment is more useful. It's easier for me to move forward. And so it might sound like going from right to useful or perfect to useful isn't a very big change, except for the fact almost every single thing in my life that is useful for me is also not perfect. And so what I'm doing is I'm moving from it has to be perfect for me to be safe to what is the useful action I can take, which gets me the outcome that I want, which creates the safety and change that I want in my life. And so it's a small change, but it's a really, really, really powerful change. Because for me, it's like, how is it working for you? Not what is the perfect way to tap, but what is a way that we can tap to move forward? How is it working for you? Not what is the perfect schedule for you to have today, but how do we structure your day so you get everything done in the time that's needed so you can enjoy your evening with your friends, whatever that particular thing looks like. So we're moving from not a perfect approach, not a right approach, but a useful approach. And this is one of those things that I am open to the possibility a single round of tapping is going to change this. But more than likely, if you're in a circumstance where you have perfectionistic tendencies, that before you act, everything needs to be in place, this is the type of tapping that you're probably going to want to do multiple days in a row. And it might be something that you're doing for the rest of your life. And I don't mean that as to say, oh no, we're stuck with this thing. But again, if we get away from this idea of perfect, if I do the tapping I'm about to show you, then my perfectionistic tendencies quiet themselves down. And even if that's just for 90 minutes, then I can move forward. Because if you're one of those people who is a perfectionist, you know what it's like to be stuck, to be able to not move forward in any way at all. And if I told you, you could take 90 seconds, you could do a little tapping, and for the next 90 minutes, you would move forward, I think that's an exchange you'd be willing to make. And if we have to tap on it again 90 minutes from now, great. If we have to tap on it again 90 minutes after that, that's fine. Because for me, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a useful path forward. So for me, this tapping has a couple of steps to it. And the framework I'm about to share with you is the framework that I use for almost all of the time I'm working with an issue or an idea or a disposition in my subconscious mind that is not moving forward in the way that I would like. The first thing I do is I acknowledge and I confirm that I know the subconscious mind is trying to be helpful. Because the reality is, this part that wants me to be safe, it is trying to be helpful. And the moment I say, hey, subconscious mind, I appreciate the fact that you're trying to be helpful, I'm no longer wrestling with the subconscious mind trying to get it to change. Instead, what I'm doing is I'm creating space where the subconscious mind and I can collaborate because I'm starting from a point of view saying, hey, I appreciate the intention. I appreciate why you're doing this. The exact same thing is true in my own life, that when I'm trying to get someone to collaborate with me in a way that I think is going to be useful and helpful, but they have a different disposition, the place I always start is I affirm, hey, I appreciate the fact that you and I want the exact same outcome. So we're starting from affirming its desire to be helpful. The second thing we do is we point out to it that it's not actually being helpful. I can appreciate the subconscious mind wants me to be safe, but by overfunctioning, trying to get it right, trying to make it perfect, what it's doing instead is it's actually making it harder for me to move forward. And if I am not moving forward, if I am not healing, if I am not taking new action, then I'm the opposite of safe. I'm stuck. And so again, I'm using the subconscious mind's desire for me to be safe and say, hey, I appreciate you wanting me to be safe. And did you know you're actually stopping me from being safe? So then the third part is I then introduce the idea of what I would like instead. And so instead of being perfect, I want to be useful. And so by tapping in that particular way, affirming its desire, letting it know how it's getting in the way, sharing a new way to think is going to make it so much easier for you to move forward and to take action without being caught, being stuck, because you're not taking action because you have to have it perfect. So what I want you to do is I want you to do a little tapping with me right now. If you're in a place that's safe and comfortable, and if you can tap along with us out loud, that's great. If you can't do that where you are right now, just listen along and tap with me. So what I want you to do is tap on the side of your hand, take a nice big deep breath. And I want you to think about an action, an activity, something that you know you would like to be doing, but you're just not taking action, that you feel stuck, that you're overthinking, that there's a part of you that needs to get it right and be perfect before you move forward. And just think of that. Take a nice big deep breath. And notice how that sense of having to get it right feels. Does it feel like tension that's holding you back? For me, it oftentimes, like I said, feels like reins that are trying to slow me down from moving forward. Maybe it's a wall that's in front of you or a stiffness in your body. Doesn't matter how you experience it. Maybe it's chattery brain that's scolding you. But just tune into how you're experiencing that. And just move from point to point, repeating after me. I recognize the fact that there is a part of me that wants to be successful. But most importantly, it wants me to be safe. And my subconscious mind believes that the way I am going to be safe is if I do everything perfectly. Is if I do everything exactly right. And I'm glad there is a part of me that wants me to be safe. I'm glad that there is a part of me that wants me to find a path forward that is so perfect and is so exactly right that there is no way anything can go wrong. And even though I appreciate my subconscious's desire to be safe by being perfect, I want my subconscious mind to know that its desire for me to be perfect isn't actually making me safe. Instead, it's doing just the opposite. My desire to be perfect means that I'm not taking any action at all. Because I'm never going to be perfect. Because I'm never going to have all of the information. That I'm always going to be working where I'm figuring it out as I go along. And acknowledging this fact does not mean that I am going to become reckless. Acknowledging this fact does not mean I'm going to be careless. Instead, what I want to do is I want to act, and I want to move forward in a way that is useful. I recognize the fact that all of the useful things that are already in my life are imperfect. Perfect is not a prerequisite for useful. Perfect is not a prerequisite for safety. I can be thoughtful, seeking a useful path. I can be deliberate, seeking a useful path. I can be safe while being imperfect, but choosing actions and approaches that are useful. As I take action today, I give myself permission, and I give my subconscious mind permission to let go of the need for perfection, to let go of the need for exactly right, and instead be open to a path that is useful, thoughts that are useful, and actions that are useful. By engaging in it in this way, I give myself permission to move forward thoughtfully, deliberately, and safely. Nice big deep breath. Now, I would be willing to bet, as we tapped our way through that, your subconscious mind, particularly if you haven't tapped like this before, is probably throwing a little bit of a temper tantrum. It's going, no, I need to be safe. No, we need to do it perfectly. But I would also be willing to bet that as we tapped our way through that, that desire softened a little bit. So now in this moment, as you get ready to take your next action, tune back in. Does it actually feel like you can take an action now that is imperfect, that is useful? If that's the case, awesome. Go take that action. If that's not the case, go back to the beginning of the tapping, tap along to it again. Because you do that, you're going to start to soften that need for perfection. Because there are already lots of areas in your life that you are comfortable with imperfection. Because if you weren't comfortable with imperfection, you would never get out of bed. But when we're doing things that are new, that are different, that's the place. Because there's more unknowns, we are less comfortable not having it perfect, not having it exactly right. And so if you do this tapping on a regular basis, if you do it daily, if you do it a couple times a week, what you're going to do is you're going to continue to expand the areas where you're comfortable with imperfect but useful. Because the more areas in your life that you are comfortable with imperfect but useful, you're going to be in a circumstance where you're going to consistently take more action, which means you're going to consistently move forward, which means you're going to consistently learn new lessons, making it even easier for you to be successful and move forward and do more useful actions as you go. It really is that simple. Acknowledge that the subconscious mind is trying to be helpful. Let the subconscious mind know why it is not being helpful. Give the subconscious mind a new reframe. And in doing that, what you're going to do is you're going to make it so much easier for you to move forward. If you know someone in your life who could find a little tapping like this as being useful, please pass it along. We always joke about the fact that our marketing budget is your word of mouth. And the reality is, if you reach out and you share this with them, even if they don't consume this, listen to this, tap along to this, the fact that you've reached out and said, hey, this might be useful for you today is going to make a difference in their life. I know that sounds super, super cheesy. It feels super cheesy to say it, but you know, and I know that it's actually true. Those small gestures make a difference in the world. Create someone's day being a little bit better by just reaching out and sharing something like this with them. As you're looking at the screen right now, you can actually see a playlist for all of the podcast's past episodes, instructions, tap-alongs. Click along with that, dive in, and I look forward to talking with you and tapping with you again real soon.